Okay, there will be discussion on another tool named JMeter. Okay, we will starting with the history, then some features, some basic terminology using the JMeter, and there will be some component discussion like samplers, timers, logic controllers, some assertions commands, and we will conclude the tool. So let's start with the history. Actually, it's a product of Apache. You have heard of the term Apache. It's also designed so many servers. And Stefano Mazzocchi of the Apache Software Foundation, actually, he has developed the JMeter. And what is the purpose of developing the JMeter? Actually, he wants to test the performance of the Apache Tomcat project. You have heard that it's a Tomcat is a basic server used for hosting any type of materials. ASF has again redesigned the JMeter because GUI facility was not there, so he has enhanced the tool. Actually, it was designed in CLI mode, so it is enhanced to the GUI. So the latest version is 2.12. Some features like it's an open source, you can easily download, and it is platform independent, so you can run on Linux, Windows, any type of operating system is visible. It's a tool for performing the load testing in web server. What is the meaning of load testing? It means measuring the performance of system in the terms of frequency of failure under heavy load. So it is used to test either the easy load, lower amount of load, or heavier amount of load. So whatever the load that is available on the website or the server is facing, or group of web servers. Also, if you're trying having a cluster of the server, so you can easily test the amount of load existing on the server. It can be also used for performing load testing on various type of web services like HTTP, FTP, JDBC. So this type of enabled database can be easily tested like SMTP, POP, IMAP, this type of email protocols, MongoDB type database, and so many things are there that can be easily tested using the JMeter. So uh, they are also providing different type of samplers. Okay, these samplers are required for testing different type of web services. Have you? I think you are all aware of the web services because you are studying in a class. They are also providing some listeners for analyzing the results because passing some tests, the listeners should be there. That should be capturing the details. It has some also built-in set of timers which can create time gaps between tests or between firing requests of the user. Whenever a user fires a request and within a predefined amount of time, your request will be fulfilled. That time is measured by the timers. There are so many logic controllers that is used for basically controlling the script, whatever you have written. Assertion, I have already said that it's only for handling the errors. Assertion are used in so many software packages for handling errors. There are so many templates that are predefined templates that you can directly use for doing the test. And apart from templates, some plugins are also the plugins are basically like it can be like of the API plugin or system call plugin that you can directly use for extending the feature of the Zimmer. Okay, before going into details, we will have explanation of some basic terminologies like test plan. It is used for creating a script that can run the test. Threads that are the basic terminology of the basic component of the of this tool where what is the objective of thread. Actually, it's for simulation. Okay, whenever you're writing a code, writing a script, it runs in the form of the threads. Like in one test plan, user can create a numerous number of threads that is used for testing the load of the server. There are some groups like we have the user groups, policy groups, so there are also thread groups. In the case of thread groups, number of threads are grouped according to the uh, according to the users. Actually, like if you're belonging to the one institution, you can have one type of group. If you're having different objects, you can be in different groups or similar groups. These type of groups basically they are the thread groups, and these thread groups are used to perform different activities. Sampler are used for making a request, and user can ask for different type of requisitions like HTTP, JDBC, FTP, SMTP. Listeners, it's already stated that that is for result analysis. Zmeter supports a variety of listeners like the view results tree. Actually, view results tree, these are actually GUI buttons. You can see in the GUI. Timers is used for adding some delay to a sampler. Some more terminology like controllers are there that is used for processing the ordering of samples, and these are logical expressions which can perform an activity upon fulfillment. Like if you posted a condition, so these conditions are transferred into the logical expressions. Assertions, that's for the error handling, and they are actually checkpoints. Like you're writing in C some debug conditions. So this type of conditions are also here from the assertions. Config is for just configuring the tool according to the script you have written. Workbench is the workspace. Like in Eclipse, you have your own workspace. So this is just exemplified the workbench. Two more terminologies are there like preprocessor elements, that's for modifying the request that is sent to the server. There are some post processor elements that is used for parsing the response and extracting a particular value from the passed output. Like whatever the output you have got, it can be passed using the element. So there are some HTTP proxy server. What is the importance of server? This is a service that is used by the JMeter, and that is used for recording some user activity. There are also HTTP cookie manager. This type of features can similar to real cookie. So cookie manager stores the cookies obtained from the websites, and it can be replayed. That will show the exact steps that will happen upon executing the cookie. Sorry. So we can run JMeter using the file bin jmeter.bat. It is a batch file. We are illustrating for the Windows. Is the screen properly visible? How is it?
Yes, sir. Slowly slide is
Okay. Okay. You can see on the screen there are some components like file, edit, search, run options, help, and you can see on the screen there is some test plan, and these are user defined variables, and there are so many functions you can select. So this is the basic view of the JMeter's UI. So how you can run JMeter in server mode? So start the JMeter in server mode. You have to click on the file JMeter server.bat. It also is also a batch file. In the server mode, JMeter distributes its test parts to the clients, and it will perform load testing by providing heavy loads with the assistance of client nodes. So we will
Sir, we
just
are
see
still able to see slide only. I think you are talking about something else.
which slide you are viewing.
Sir, the basic terminologies.
Wait. That's a masking. Is the screen visible or not? Okay. Let me resync. GUI दिख रहा है JMeter का?
yes, sir.
Yes,
Slide
sir.
number 9.
Okay. Slide number 9. Okay. Then I was explaining that you can see that in the JMeter's GUI, you can open this GUI by clicking on the file jmeter.bat. It's a batch file. It's nothing so much typical. And while running in the server mode, you can click on the file jmeter server.bat. So in the server mode, JMeter distributes test parts to the clients. Okay, JMeter has so many clients running as a threads. So the task is distributed to the clients, and this client will perform load testing. Okay, so load testing is done by sending the request to the client, and we will study the amount of load. Okay, we will try to study the performance of the client or the server in the case of heavy loads. So how to run a basic test script? Okay, you can click on add, then there is the threads, then you can create a thread group. So after the creation of the thread group, we have to click on sampler, add sampler HTTP request. So this type of request is dependent upon the type of the server which is running. If it is a basic server, server, you can use HTTP. If it's a file-based server, you can use FTP. There are also bean cells networks, SDP, JAX programming. So you can also use Java request, JDBC, it's a database server. Different type of servers are there, and you can pass on the requests. So since google.co.in is basically guided by HTTP, so you can pass the name HTTP request. You can put the server name or the IP. You can also pass the port number. If you're having your own, you're aware of the number of the port number of the system. But generally, it's not required. It will automatically fill in. So you have to pass the name of the server and see after, since we have already aware of the fact that there should be a listener that can listen to the results. So you want to have a listener like listener view results in table. That will be easier to study what is the output you created. So after everything is over, you can save the test script by clicking on Control S and go to the file menu and basic save. That is a basic functionality of any tool. So it's saved in the format of JMX. Actually, JMX stands for geometry. And with this extension, the script is saved actually. You can
10, slide number 10.
slide. You are 10 actually. No. I moved to 11 to 13. Whenever it is not showing, just ping me because. Okay, what is the current slide you are seeing?
Slide number 10, running JMeter in server
And
mode.
wait. The new is a little bit sluggish. Sorry for some reason. Okay, slide number 11 it's visible. Yes, sir. Okay, see. So how you can run a basic test script? You can click on add, then threads, then thread group. So for the users, you can create your own thread group. So after the script, after the creation of the group, you can click on thread group. You can add again, go to the add button, click on sampler, and within sampler, you have to click on HTTP request. So this type of request is based on the type of the server you are testing. Then you can fill the server name, like it should be like www.google.co.in. Name can be any arbitrarily any. You can put anything there. Port number, if it is known, it's okay. Timeout for basically heavier loaded websites. You can put the limit or threshold within that slot. If you wish your website should respond, you can check here. Then after that, you have to add a listener actually. So this listener can be anything, like it's MBBS of comparison, like it can be a graphical representation, monitoring result. So different types of listeners are there, but if you wish to view the results in table, select the last one. And कुछ हुआ क्या प्रॉब्लम है? स्लाइड नंबर 15 विजिबल है ना सबको?
Yes, sir. Slide number 15.
Okay. Then we have to run the basic test script. So we can save it by first we have to save it like in the format of JMX. So when that is saved, you can run the script again to check its functionality. After the script is run, you can view the results in table. Why you're viewing the result in table? Because you have selected this type of listener. So see, you can see the result like one sample. Thread name is thread group 1 -1. Start time is your time. Sample time is it means sampling time. So your sample has run from 1329 seconds, sorry, milliseconds. Status is ticked. It means it's successfully executed. Number of bytes involved. Latency is this is the amount of the amount of time that is actually invested. So why you are seeing the difference between sample time and latency? Sample time is the complete time for processing the file, sending the request, receiving the request. But latency is only the sending and receiving time. It's not the byte uploading or byte alert about time. So you can refer to like this is the processing delay plus network delay and latency is only the network delay. It's not calculating the processing delay. So you see that latency is little bit smaller than the sample time. So which type of result is more feasible or acknowledgeable? That depends upon the users you want to test. If you want to consider that what is the amount of time required for processing your files, then you can go for the sample time. And if you're only concerned about your network bandwidth, you can go for the latency. So there are few more samplers like FTP, like it's sorry. FTP, it is used for testing the file transfer protocol surface. Like if you wish to download a file from a server, so for testing that server, you can use the FTP sampler. Another is the SMTP sampler. What is the full form of SMTP? Anyone?
Simple mail transfer protocol.
Okay, good. So SMTP sampler. Okay, one more question. What are the other protocols used in the email servers apart from SMTP?
Sir, POP, IMAP.
So POP, MIME.
Okay, MIME is actually not a protocol. It's a basic for multimedia message. It's a general format. It can be used for other servers also. Okay, POP is good because it is mainly required for in the email server. Okay, what is the use of POP? What does POP do in the email server? यार तो बेसिक चीज है यार, बताओ नेटवर्किंग का बेसिक सही है.
So basically for the storage, sir.
POP is for
Storage, sir. Storage.
storage. No. Storage के लिए
So
प्रोटोकॉल क्यों
downloading
डिजाइन
the
करोगे?
mails.
No.
So downloading the mails.
Protocol है यार. This is a protocol. Protocol is not an application. What is the importance of POP? डाउनलोड तो तुम दूसरे चीज से भी कर सकते हो, FTP से भी कर सकते हो. So why POP?
सर मतलब क्योंकि पॉप से हम जो मेल होता है उसको हम ऑफलाइन कैसे देखें, तो उसके लिए पॉप ये चीज सपोर्ट करता है टू मतलब मेल्स को
बिल्कुल हाँ
ऑफलाइन देखने के लिए.
हाँ इट्स डायरेक्टली तो नहीं एक्सप्लेन किया बट इट्स लिटिल बिट कनेक्टेड है. पॉप एक्चुअली प्रोटोकॉल है. इसका यूज क्या है? इट इज बेसिकली यूज टू कैप्चर एंड मेंटेन द मेल्स इन स्टैक्ड व्यू में रखने के लिए होता है. because while you're viewing your mail, like if you have received a mail yesterday and another mail has received will be coming tomorrow, so अगर वो मेंटेन नहीं होगा स्टैक में, so how can you know or how you can search actually कि कौन सा मेल कब आया, from which owner से आया, किसको भेजना है, किसके बेसिस पे आया, क्या कंटेंट है. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस आर नीडेड. तो ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए डेटा स्ट्रक्चर चाहिए था. तो दिस डेटा स्ट्रक्चर का जो बेसिक्स है दैट इज इम्प्लीमेंटेड इन पॉप. सो पॉप प्रोटोकॉल का बेसिक डेटा स्ट्रक्चर है वो स्टैक ही है, इस पे सारा कुछ मेंटेन किया रहता है. सो पॉप इज नॉट फॉर डाउनलोडिंग एक्चुअली, पॉप इज फॉर मेंटेनिंग द मेल्स ताकि तुम उसको इजिली देख सको. सो दैट इज द एडवांटेज ऑफ पॉप. क्लियर है?
यस सर.
ओके चलो ठीक है. Okay, then we have also mail reader like POP3, IMAP, IMAPS. Okay, there are some debug samplers also. That is for debugging the geometry. So when a script behaves abnormally, so we can use the debug sampler for debugging it. There are also some log samplers that is used for generating requests based on access logs or logs generated by the web servers. There are some also AGP samples used for testing the AGP service of the Tomcat server. Okay, what are the other servers apart from Tomcat that are used?
XAMPP, sir. XAMPP.
Sorry, XAMPP.
Yes, sir.
Okay, XAMPP is not a server; it's a tool for maintaining the servers.
In that we have the service.
Apache. Apache is general. Okay, fine. Okay, ठीक है. Then we have also samplers like bean cell samplers, and that is used for writing a sampler that is based on bean cell script. There are also some BSF samplers like JSR223. So many samplers are there, like Java write a sampler or using Java program utilized. So we are going to go into details whenever we run the execution. We will execute a tool. There are some database samplers like testing the JDBC service, JMS service. JMS samplers that can be used for testing point-to-point as well as publisher and subscriber services under JMS. You understand that publisher and subscriber, that is a client and server-based technology. There are some LDAP request default sampler that is for testing the LDAP services. There are some extended request samplers that is for testing the extended service of LDAP. There are also TCP samplers like Telnet, FTP, HTTPS. This type of also are protocols. TCP service for best protocols. Can also be tested. We will start with FTP request sampler. In the case of FTP request sampler, में क्या करते हैं? We have to go again, follow the same steps, add sampler. See, earlier we are using the HTTP. Now we are clicking on FTP request. Then we have to configure the request. Slide number 21 visible, है ना?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. In the FTP request, we have to put the name. We have to put the name of the IP. Like we are using the IP. Server name. ftp.microsoft.com. It's a file-based server. Okay. There's a remote file. It's stored in the directory whql. Readme.txt file is there. We have to download it. Okay. And in our system, we are saving that file with the name of abcde.txt. And we have to get that file. Okay, we need the file from server to our system. Configuration is given because while logging for the FTP server, we need to put username and password. It's given there. So this type of entries are required for accessing the FTP server. And whenever we run the script, we can view the results in the view results tree. Okay, so you can see the sampler result like thread name, sample start, load time, latency, size. So many parameters are there. Okay, one more thing that is important to understand: what is the response code and what is the response message. Okay, response code 200, it's a type of code that means that the system is properly run, so it's okay. There you have heard that, or you have seen that while running some while doing the browsing, you see sometimes that the website is not responding properly, so you have an error like 404 or 402. This type of errors are coming, that is showing that your network is not properly configured, a server is extremely loaded, or website is not crawled properly. So according to that status, a response code is generated and sent to the client net. So here 200 is returned, it means everything is okay, the file has downloaded properly. Okay, now we are talking about load, but still we have not measured. So we have to measure the load actually in the terms of hits per second. So what is the meaning of hits per second? Like if you design a website, okay, and we want to test that how many users can access that website promptly within a second. Like it can be like 1,000 hits, 10,000 hits. So website having a larger number of hits can easily handle the load handle the amount of load existing in the server, but server having poor number of hits per second, it's not even feasible for the public market. So we can also add delay in between the work of threads. JMeter provides a set of times. And now we will see sorry, how many timers are there actually in JMeter. First is the constant timer, that is used for adding a constant delay in between the action of threads. So we know that there are so many threads, group threads that is working in the case of JMeter. So we can add a delay actually. So what is the objective of delay threads here actually? Like if we take a website like google.co.in, okay, and we are sending, we want to send 100 or 1,000 number of hits in a second. So 1,000 threads are running. So whenever 1,000 threads can work in parallel, or it can also work in a batch way. So if you want to hit the website, we can also add some delay in between the execution of the threads, or we can just directly execute all the threads at a time. There can be constant throughput timer, so we can simulate the load in the terms of throughput. Throughput, it means you understand, and it is a network term where, sorry, It is a network term where we are sending the packet and we are receiving the acknowledgement from their side. So this type of delay is basically the amount of delay incurred in sending a file and receiving an acknowledgement. So throughput is determined by the number of successful acknowledgements and successful file transmissions, or in the terms of network, packet transmissions. There is a uniform random timer. This timer introduces time gaps between the actions of each thread with random time limited by the upper and the lower limit of the randomness. So it's basically a randomization thing. So timer can set any type of random value, that is for creating a gap random time. So there's some connection between constant timer and uniform random timer. Uniform random timer is guided by the random time, and constant timer is guided by the constant time. It can be that both type of timers can be set by you, but in one case it is the randomized, another case it's the constant one. There's some Gaussian random timer. This timer is same as a uniform random timer, but the randomness is based on the distribution of Gaussian curve. Are you all aware of the Gaussian curve? Anyone?
Yes, I have read something.
समथिंग में क्या क्या पढ़े हो बताओ गॉसियन के बारे में. बेसिक्स समझ में आता है गॉसियन कैसा होता है गॉसियन ग्राफ्स? तुम तो गेट दियो यार, गेट में तो रहता है गॉसियन फिजिक्स मैथ्स तो है, मेरे टाइम में भी गेट में था.
वो बेल शेप्ड होता है कुछ.
ओके, बेल शेप तो होता है, फाइन. ओके, बेल शेप में मिड वैल्यू क्या इंडिकेट करता है?
मीन वैल्यू शायद इंडिकेट करता है.
हाँ वही मिड वैल्यू है, मीन वैल्यू. वही मीन वैल्यू क्या इंडिकेट करता है?
सर याद नहीं सर ठीक से, बट
अच्छा ठीक है, ओके ओके, लेट मी एक्सप्लेन दैट. See, in the case of Gaussian random timer, actually the value starts from a minimal value, reaches a maximum, that is the median or the mean value, and it will just drop down to the lower part again. So it's in the form of a bell shape. So अगर Gaussian type का random timer लोगे, so how example बता रहा हूँ that what is the sequence of a time, like it can start with like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then again it will fall like 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so this should be uniform, like you understanding that 5 is the center of the series, and the digits existing at the right and the left side of the series should be in the decreasing format, and it should be consistent. Like if it is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then after 5 it will be like 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so when you are plotting this type of series on a time-based graph, you will see that it is in the form of a bell shape, and that bell shape is known as the Gaussian graph. So when you are selecting a Gaussian random timer, so time will just be inserted. So there is another timer known as beam cell timer. Then another is the BSF timer. BSF timer is basically used for okay, there is another timer like GSR223 timer that is used when you're using the GSR223 scripting language. There is some Poisson random timer. So that is used for adding delay between each thread, that is based on the Poisson distribution curve. Another is a synchronizing timer. Poisson ratio मैं explain नहीं कर रहा हूँ, it's the same thing. Little bit different with Gaussian. You can search yourself. पूरा class mathematics में निकल जाएगा. Synchronizing timer that is used for adding delay between groups of threads. It allows to add delay by synchronizing among the different number of threads, whatever you created. So this is based on the concept of synchronization. So we will see some timer implementations. like how you can use, like if you wish to use constant timer, then you can click on add timer, then constant timer. You can add delay. Remember that that's delay is in milliseconds. Okay, it's 3000 millisecond. Timer name is constant timer. कौन सा slide visible है?
So 24.
Anyone? 24. I have gone to 27. Okay, let me restart again. Okay, visible at 27.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, this is for the configuring the constant timer. You have to give the name like constant timer and thread delay like 3000 milliseconds. Then in the next step, just your actually you have added the listener in the form of view results in table. Okay, just go through and see. There are so many samples. Starting time is different. Actually, we have put some. This one thread delay, it's 3000 millisecond. I think it's same for all the threads. Okay, latency actually it's varying. This is the amount of size of the packets that are sent actually. Status is fine. It means every time it is hitting, but latency is changing actually. There are so many logic controllers in JMeters that is for controlling the test script. So if proper ordering can be done using some concepts of controllers or using controllers that are existing like random order. So it makes the samples that can be called in a randomized manner. Interleaved controller is used to run the sample in loops that is based on the number of threads. That is not dependent upon the loop count. It is dependent on the number of threads. So interleaving का literal meaning होता है just to reconnect with each other. So accordingly threads क्या होंगे that will be in sync of each other and that will run. Another is if controller. So it is allowed. It is allowing to us to hit the defined sample whenever the condition is true. So it is just like a programming condition. Loop controller, it makes the sample to run numerous number of times whatever you have fed. And there is only only controller that is used for making the test script run the components, but that will be done but that will be done only one time for every thread whatever you have created. Another is the same, I think, random controller that is just for choosing the controllers randomly. Another is the recording controller that is for recording the elements and that is automatic actually, and it will record all the elements or the activities that is happening on the JMeter proxy service. There's another runtime controller that is for running the test, but that is for a fixed amount of time. Another is a switch controller. It is used for executing the test element. That is same as the interleaved one, but here is the switch values there. So you understand what is the difference between switch and interleave. In the case of interleave, all connected. You can't select any arbitrarily, but in the switch, according to the input you are passed, you can select any type of controller. While controller just basic programming thing, it's the same as while actually. Okay, in the critical section, if you want to test any certain element, then you can use the critical section. For each का use that is the same like for loop की तरह ही है, but that is based on the value of a variable. There's another include controller that allows us to add JMX files into the script. So whatever the JMX file you have created, you can use that for including the for testing the servers and using the script. One that script is saved in the JMX format, so you can directly pass the script also. Another is a module controller that is used for adding part of current test plan to the current test script, that is for merging so many of test plans to the single test script. So here's a illustration of random controller. कौन सा slide visible? 32 visible है क्या?
It is audible.
32 sir, 32.
हाँ मैम ऑडिबल मैम, आप लेंगे आगे?
हाँ मैं ले जाऊंगी. Okay.
ओके
So I think it was problem due to network problem. Okay.
बेसिकली वही था.
Hello.
हाँ मैम, इज वॉइस ऑडिबल मैम, यू कैन कंटिन्यू.
Okay. So should I start the implementation?
Yes ma'am, actually I have gone through slide number 33. You can start from there. Hello. हेलो. अब इससे आवाज जा रहा है क्या? मैम का आवाज फिर से नहीं आ रहा ना?
यस सर, अब नहीं आ रही आवाज, पहले आ रही थी.
Okay students, just wait for 5 minutes.
Pushkar. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Abhishek, it is audible.
Yes ma'am, it is audible.
Okay. So anything demonstration has Pushkar, have you shown any implementation? Should I start the implementation? Abhishek?
Yes ma'am, actually we have moved to slide number 32. You can start from 32.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
हाँ पुष्कर, implementation
Yes
देखा
ma'am,
है
32. मैंने 32 नंबर स्लाइड से स्टार्ट कीजिए आप. स्लाइड नंबर 32.
That I know slide number from 32, but the implementation.
इम्प्लीमेंटेशन स्टार्ट नहीं किया अभी. आप आगे देख लीजिए ना. इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कुछ नहीं दिखा है. Hello.
हाँ पुष्कर, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन शुरू करूँ या
मैम
मतलब कुछ दिखाए हो?
नहीं मैम, you can start.
Okay, so I am just starting from the starting. That is from a HTTP request. Okay. So open
ma'am, that's
that
fine.
Apache JMeter dot rar file and extract that rar file.
Ma'am, I have tried, but I think it is not opening.
Ma'am, that file is corrupted.
That file was corrupted. So just wait. I am just uploading again. I am uploading that file. Okay. ଟିକେ ରୁହ, ମୁଁ upload କରିଦିଏ, ମୋ ନେଟ୍ ସରିଗଲା। Hello.
Yes ma'am.
Okay. And now I am uploading again the Apache file. Otherwise, you can download it from the Google. Okay. So just type JMeter. Then one file will come as Apache JMeter.rar. You can download that file also.
Ma'am, this time you haven't uploaded the zip file, okay, right?
Hello. ମୋର ତ ଡାଟା ସରିଗଲା, ତମର ସେଇଟା ଅଛି ସେଟା ସ୍ଲୋ ହେଇଯାଉଛି।
Downloaded, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, downloaded.
All of you have downloaded that file? Students, all of you have downloaded a file?
Yes, ma'am. I have downloaded the file from the MS Team. You have just uploaded that one. I have downloaded.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
open that file, and in that file one folder is there, bin folder. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So here you can see that bin folder is there.
There is example, ma'am.
Ma'am, bin example JSP, then there is nothing.
I think
Yes, ma'am. That is empty, ma'am.
Puskar. Hello. Puskar.
Yes, ma'am.
I think some network problem is there. So can you update that file? I will show you demonstration in on the other time.
Okay, ma'am.
Huh? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. I will see that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, students. Then what is the problem you are facing? There's no any. Let me upload the file, okay? Just few minutes.
Sir, this file is also corrupt.